Hello everyone and welcome back to Aseen's. So in today's video we are going to talk about microorganisms itself, but this video is the part 2. So in this video we are going to discuss the following topics. In our previous video we have discussed the introduction and friendly microbes. So in this video we will be talking about harmful microorganisms, diseases caused by microorganisms in humans, in animals, and in plants, food poisoning, food preservation, and storage and packing. Let's start with harmful microorganisms. Okay, just let's have a look at the introduction. Disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. The microbes which cause diseases to you, whether it's a bacteria or a virus or a fungi, okay, we call such microbes which are causing diseases to us as pathogens. Other than these pathogens, these microbes will also spoil food, clothing, and leather. So we are not talking about pathogens. Other than pathogens, there are other microbes which are harmful to us, which spoil our goods. It could be food, it could be clothing, it could be leather. Okay, you might, if it's fungal, you might be seeing a whitish layer appearing. Okay, so these two are the categories of the harmful microorganisms. Now, let's talk about diseases caused in humans. The microbes which are causing diseases to us. Okay, we are going to talk about them. So, just a while back we have seen what pathogens are. So, pathogens are the microbes which are causing diseases to us. So, this pathogen will enter our body through air, water, and food. So, if you are having contaminated air, if you are breathing contaminated air, or if you are drinking contaminated water, or eating contaminated food. So when I say contaminated, that means it contains these pathogens. So if the air you breathe contains this pathogen, or if the water you are drinking contains this pathogens, this microbes which are causing diseases to you, or the food which you are eating, it is once again contaminated with these pathogens, then you are definitely going to fall for the respective diseases. They here refers to the pathogens get transmitted by direct contact with infected person. You might have heard elders telling you to stay away from the people who are sick. Okay, in case of cold, cough, fever, right? So even in schools, when you are not well, you are requested not to come to school. The reason behind it is an infected person. If you are in contact with an infected person, you are most likely to get the same disease and very much earlier. Okay, so this is the reason why the disease gets transmitted from an infected person faster. So such diseases which get transmitted from the infected person, we call such diseases as communicable diseases. That means you come in contact with the infected person, you get the same disease. So it is communicable diseases. Examples are cholera, cold, chickenpox, and tuberculosis. Now, let's have a look at the chart of human diseases. The first column gives you the diseases. The second column will give you the respective microbes responsible for the disease. Third column is for mode of transmission. That means how does this disease spread? And the last one is the preventive measure. What can you do to avoid these diseases? Okay, and if you can see here, they are grouped into 4 categories, right? These categories are just with respect to the preventive measure. Okay, so they are not grouped under any of these 3 columns, but because of this column. We'll start with the first one, that is tuberculosis, or the common name TB. So TB is actually a bacterial disease, okay, a bacterial infection of the lungs. In the symptoms here includes the person coughing and coughing and coughing. So the person gets prolonged coughs in this particular disease, okay, and it is transmitted through air. So the mode of transmission, the disease is spread through air. Okay, we are going to see the preventive measure collectively. We'll go to the next one, that is measles. Measles, here you are going to get rashes on the skin, okay, fever along with rashes throughout the skin which will last for a few days. It's a viral disease caused by a virus, and once again it is also spread through air. Next one is chicken pox. Once in a lifetime you will definitely get chicken pox. Here you are going to get small boil like lesions on your skin which is quite itchy along with fever, okay, and as mentioned before, chicken pox is a viral disease caused by virus and it is transmitted through air and contact. That means by air obviously it's being transmitted. Once again, if you come in contact with a person who is infected with chicken pox right now, you are having a high chance of falling ill with it. Next one is polio virus, okay. So definitely it is it's a viral disease. It's infected. When you're infected by the polio virus, you are going to fall for it, okay. Here it's a deadly disease. It's going to, once if you are attacked by polio, it will leave its mark by deforming your limbs, your hands, right? So this polio virus is spread through air and water. So any of these two mediums can be used, okay. Now let's see what are the preventive measures for this four diseases. Keep the patient in complete isolation. That means separating the patient completely from the other people, keeping the person or the patient who is infected with the following four diseases isolated. You are not supposed to come in contact with the infected person. Keep the personal belongings of the patient away from those of the others. Other than the person himself, you are supposed to keep his personal belongings away. The infected person's things, whatever he is using, you should stay away from it as well. Vaccination to be given at suitable age. So there is proper vaccination for each of it, and vaccination is given at a proper age. It could not be given anytime, anywhere, but there is a particular time to give it, and during that time only we are supposed to give it. Next, we are going to talk about cholera and typhoid. Cholera and typhoid both are bacterial diseases. The causative microorganism is bacteria, and cholera is spread by water or food. That means if you are having contaminated water or contaminated food, contaminated with the bacteria causing cholera, then you are going to definitely come down with cholera. Once again, for typhoid, it's not food but it's water. So if you are having contaminated water, contaminated with the bacteria causing typhoid, then you are going to come down with typhoid. Now, cholera and typhoid have got some of the symptoms very common. In all the cases, in all the microbial cases, the one symptom which is common is fever. Fever will definitely arise. Okay, without fever you won't be able to identify these diseases. Other than fever, in case of cholera and typhoid, there is vomiting and running motion. Okay, running motion, stomach ache. Okay, just the cases. In case of cholera, the bacteria is different. In case of typhoid, the bacteria is different. Now let's talk about the preventive measure. Maintain personal hygiene and good sanitary habits. You need to be very much hygiene to avoid cholera and typhoid. Consume properly cooked food and boiled drinking water, and vaccination. So you are supposed to consume properly cooked food. That means if the food is cooked properly, the germs will die. There is no chance for the germs to live in hot food or in hot water. So that way you are going to be safe. Other than that, the next option is vaccination. If you are vaccinated for typhoid and cholera, you are not going to come down with the disease. Now, Next one is hepatitis B. So hepatitis B is a viral disease and it is spread by water. Okay, in case of hepatitis B is actually an infection of the liver, where the person has got high fever, the person has got stomach ache, no appetite, vomiting. Okay, so here once again the preventive measures include drinking boiling water since it is spread through water. So if you boil the water and drink, it will kill the germs. Next is vaccination. If you are vaccinated for hepatitis B, you are not going to come down with the disease. Now, coming to the last one, that is malaria. Malaria is very common. Okay, it's spread by protozoa. The only one in this list which is spread by protozoa. And mode of transmission here, mosquito. So it's not spread. Malaria is not spread through air. It is not spread through water or food. It is spread through mosquito bite. Which mosquito? Anopheles mosquito. And only the female one. The female Anopheles mosquito is the carrier for the protozoa causing malaria. Okay. So when this mosquito, the female Anopheles mosquito, which is having the protozoa responsible for malarial disease, it comes and bites you. So chances of you falling with or you coming down with malaria are more. So in case of malaria, what are the symptoms? Headaches, vomiting, then you have got high fever, recurring night fever. Okay, so these are the common symptoms of malaria. So what can you do? Since it is spread through mosquito, avoid mosquitoes. You can use mosquito nets, you can use mosquito repellents, spray insecticides, control mosquito breeding around your area. Okay, don't allow water to stand nearby your area. When water stands in an area, it is a breeding ground for the mosquito. Mosquito starts to lay eggs in that standing water. So don't leave empty vessels around you or empty not empty. That is, don't allow puddles to stand nearby you. So that was about human diseases. So other than the diseases which we have seen, okay, excluding malaria, because malaria also come under this category, where insects and animals, they are the carriers for the diseases. They are responsible for spreading the disease. So example, housefly. So how does housefly spread the disease? It's normally, you might have heard elders telling you that you shouldn't eat any food with flies on it, right? You're supposed to cover your food and keep, okay, because you don't want the flies to sit on your food. So why all these precautions? This house flies, they are normally found in the garbage area. Okay, so in this garbage areas, they'll be roaming, they'll be sitting on different garbages, and they'll be attracting most of the pathogens. Since it's garbage and it might contain dead and decaying matter, it might contain some other microbes. So this microbes will sit on the parts, on the legs, on its on its trunk. Okay, and this mosquito is going to fly out, and as soon as it finds some food nearby, it's going to sit on it. So when you have this food, you will be contaminated by the respective pathogens which the housefly might have brought. So the best way is to avoid this houseflies sitting on your food by covering them. Okay, so that way you're going to be safe. Other than that, as discussed back, female Anopheles mosquito, it's a carrier for malarial disease. Okay, malarial disease caused by a protozoa called Plasmodium. So this Plasmodium lives inside the mouth of female Anopheles mosquito. So it's better, you cannot sit and identify which is an Anopheles mosquito and which is a female one. So it's better to avoid the mosquito bites altogether. Use mosquito nets, use mosquito repellents. Okay, and coming to the third one, female Aedes mosquito. It's responsible for carrying dengue virus. So dengue is a very, very deadly disease. It's a very fatal disease. Okay, chances or the death rate with dengue is very high. So this dengue virus is spread through female Aedes mosquito. So altogether, it's very much better to avoid mosquito bites. Next, let's have a look at diseases caused in animals. So the first one here is anthrax. So anthrax is a bacterial disease. It affects both humans as well as cattle. Okay, so it's mainly found in cattle, so it comes under cattle disease. Okay, anthrax. And the next one is foot and mouth disease of cattle, which is also caused by virus. Okay. As we are talking about anthrax, in case of anthrax, the symptoms differ from cattle to humans. So in case of humans, if you are infected with anthrax, then you're going to have rashes throughout your skin, you are going to see scabs, dryness, lesions. Okay, then chest heaviness, all those things are common in case of anthrax in humans, whereas anthrax in animals is hardly identified. Before identifying itself, most of the animals die. Okay, they include high fever. Animals are often seen having high fever in case of anthrax. Other than that, there might be blood present in the mouth areas, in the anal areas and all. Next, let's talk about diseases caused in plants. So diseases in plants, we are going to see 3. The first one is citrus canker. Citrus canker is normally found in lemon plants. Okay, so it's a bacterial disease and it's spread through air. Okay, so this is what citrus canker look like. Next is rust of wheat. Rust of wheat is a fungal disease and it affects the wheat plant. Here it is spread through air and seeds. Contaminated seeds are also responsible for rust of wheat. Now coming to the last one, yellow vein mosaic of bhindi. Bhindi is also known as okra. Okay, it's a viral disease where the leaf turns yellow and veiny. Okay, and its transmission is through insects. The different insects which sit on this plant are responsible. They might be carriers, they might be carrying this particular virus responsible for this disease. Next, let's talk about food poisoning. So what is food poisoning? Food poisoning, when we say, we normally know the symptoms. It's vomiting, it could be motion, running motion, stomach pains, all those things are what comes to our mind when we hear food poisoning. So food poisoning happens when you consume spoiled food by microbes. If food is already spoiled or it's contaminated with microbes, and with time this microbes will change the quality of the food. They'll release toxic substances in this food. So when they do that, and this food if you consume, you are going to come down with food poisoning. So when I say toxic here means poisonous. Okay, so now coming to the next topic, that is food preservation. Food preservation, to keep the food good for a long time, preserving it, keeping it in good condition, keeping it in fresh condition for a long time. So how can you do that? So there are a few methods. They come under chemical method. So here you preserve the food by adding oil, salt, vinegar, sugar, etc. There are some more methods. Okay, so these are the common ones. By using so and so things, you can preserve the food for a longer time. So we are going to see them one by one. The first one, preservation by common salt. The salt which you eat, the salt which you add while cooking. This salt is a preservator. It will help in preserving your food. So specifically, salt is used to preserve meat, fish, amla, raw mangoes, the tender mangoes, and tamarinds. Okay, so these are the common ones. So if you apply salt and leave it to sun dry, okay, and after when it's all the moisture has left this food articles, whatever you are using, and then if you keep it stored inside even for years together, for I won't say more than a year or 2 years, nothing is going to happen unless and until moisture attacks it. If moisture attacks it, definitely it's going to spoil. But in the absence of moisture and in the presence of salt, your food is going to remain good. It won't be destroyed by the microbes. Next, preservation by sugar. where would you add sugar? It could be something sweet, right? So obviously it's something like jams, jellies and squashes. Squashes is what you use for making drinks. Okay, so if you observe in this particular food articles, you have got lots and lots of sugar. Sugar is again a preservative. When sugar is present, microbes won't grow. That is the reason why you can keep jams, you can keep jellies and squashes at room temperature and nothing is going to happen. That is because it cannot be attacked by microorganisms. Moreover, sugar reduces moisture, which inhibits growth of bacteria. So one good thing about sugar is when you add sugar to food in excess amount, it will reduce the amount of water in it. So when water quantity reduces, when moisture quantity reduces, the microbes do not have any chance to grow. Microbes grow where moisture is present, where water is present. If it gets a little amount of water in food, then also it will start to attack. So if no moisture, no microbe. Next, preservation by oil and vinegar. So oil and vinegar, if you are adding to food, it will keep the food fresh. It will fresh in a sense. Obviously it's going to alter the taste. It won't be as you were having it before adding, but it will keep it fresh and it will avoid the attack of microbes. So you can use these methods for preserving vegetables, fruits, fish, meat, okay, pickles and all. Whatever we use, we add lots of vinegar, we add lots of salt in that, we add lots of oil in that. So why we do that? Because when you add so and so things, your pickles are going to remain fresh for a longer period, right? You keep it at room temperature, you keep it outside, you just let the sunlight fall on it for some time. Okay, so that way it will remove all the moisture if at all it is accumulated inside, and that way it's going to keep your food fresh. Okay, so other than the chemical methods, we have got two more treatment methods to avoid the growth of microbes, that is heat and cold treatment. So the first one, boiling, heating will kill the germs. So when you are ill, when you are not well, you are advised by the doctors, by the elders, to drink boiled water. Why? When you boil something, when you heat something, microbes are killed. So this is one good reason why we prefer boiling specifically to water, because water is something we consume regularly. Next is low temperature, okay, or freezing. When you freeze something, see, we keep our fish, we keep our meat, we keep all such goods, we keep it inside, in the refrigerators, in the freezers, in the fridge. So the reason behind it is, in low temperatures microbes won't grow. The microbes which affect this food, or which destroy this food, or which starts to contaminate this food, so these microbes cannot grow in low temperatures. So this is the reason why we keep it freezed, we use freezers. Next, let's talk about pasteurization of milk. This comes under heat treatment. Okay, pasteurization is a technique given by Louis Pasteur. Okay, that is the reason why the name is like a continuation of his second name, that is Pasteur, pasteurization. Now, what is pasteurization of milk? Pasteurization of milk is nothing but you are heating the milk up to 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, and then suddenly you are chilling it. You are directly putting the hot milk in the freezer and letting it cool. So when you do this, what happens is germs are not allowed to grow at all. First, you are heating it. Because of that, germs are killed. You are not allowing to cool it. That hot thing itself you are putting in the refrigerator. So directly the hot thing is being cooled. So there is no chance of the microbe to grow. When it starts to cool, what happens is, if you have kept it outside to come down at room temperature, chances of the microbes attacking is more as it starts to cool. So heat it. Hot itself, if you put inside the refrigerator, then there is no chance for the microbes to grow in this milk. So this method is pasteurization of milk. It's called as pasteurization of milk because it was given by Louis Pasteur. Now, the last topic here, storage and packing. Yes, storage and packing is also very much responsible in keeping your food fresh and keeping your food away from microbes. So airtight sealing. Nowadays, you might have observed your whatever containers you're using, they are airtight. You prefer it airtight. Whatever you're buying from outside, the preserved food, it's supposed to be airtight. Why airtight? Because when you use airtight containers, okay, specifically the dry food, your dry snacks, vegetables, and all, air won't attack. If air won't attack, along with the air, moisture won't come, and that means no microbes. So this will keep your food fresh. This will keep your food in good condition, okay, and it will keep it preserved unless and until you buy it, so it will be in good condition for a longer time. So that was about storage and packing, and pretty much the second part of the video. The next part we are going to see the very last part, that is the nitrogen cycle. Till then, if you have got any doubts in this particular video, just leave a comment at the bottom and I'll definitely get back to you. Thank you for watching.